Welcome, I'm Rita Lucas, and this is from Gringo to Tico, and today we're going to be talking about bugs. I know that a lot of people are really concerned when they hear about, we do live in the jungle and the most biodiverse part of the planet and all those kinds of things that the marketing people have talked about. Corcovado National Park is right over there. It's not very far. Mother Nature doesn't know where we have delineated where parks are. So where we live here in the southern zone of Costa Rica, we're in the jungle. That's reality. Do we have bugs? Absolutely. Are they freaky? Are they curious? Yes. Are we curious? Yes. Are they kind of amazing sometimes? Absolutely. Do I like cockroaches and ants and things in my house? No, I do not. Do I like creepy crawlies in my house? No, I do not like them at all. So how do you live with that? And how do you enjoy the beauty that all this is and still deal with those creepy crawlies that we don't like? First and foremost, and the most important thing for everybody, is to ensure you have and know and love your exterminator. We have a guy that we use. He uses an organic product that he gets out of the States. It's very expensive for him. Therefore, his service is a little more expensive. But we only have him come to our house once about every 8 months now that our yard is mature. And also the chickens help a lot. So they eat a lot of bugs. But he comes and he sprays the entire yard, closest, because we have 2 acres. He's not going to spray the whole 2 acres, but he sprays this whole area and up and around the chicken house and things like that. And that really, really deters most things. I haven't seen a scorpion now for a long time unless I start moving rocks and doing something. Sometimes I used to find them if I moved some cement blocks, but I moved some the other day to create a new compost area bin, and there was no scorpions in there at all. And usually I find one in there, but there's been none. Ants are my biggest nemesis. I don't like ants in my house. They bite. I think every ant in Costa Rica bites. That's it is. I don't like it. So I use a couple of products for in between. Bagon Green that comes in a green bottle, and it has a green refillable can that you can pour into it. And then I use Dragnet, which is certified okay for inside your home and stuff like that. It's a chemical. I get that. I know that. I don't like to use it. When I do use it, I use all the normal precautions of wearing wrong clothes, putting a mask on, those kinds of smart things, right? I don't use it very often. But if for whatever reason, I've got an infestation of ants, I'm gonna spray and encourage them to move on and not to be in my zone. I have a sort of a saying that I do, and it's kind of hilarious, kind of funny. This is my home and my space, and when you come into my space, I can play God of sorts, and I can eradicate you. If I go out into your space, you've got a lot of space out there in that jungle that surrounds my home, and if I go into there, you can be nasty to me. And you can choose to eradicate me if I'm stupid enough to walk in there without my rubber boots and long pants on. So that's kind of the deal I've made with the jungle. It depends on what it is. If it's in my house, I'll just relocate it out into the jungle. But if you're an ant, ants don't come into our house very often. We never get them in our house. We get them more around the perimeter. Or if the dogs leave a bone out, they'll come and be helping them eat that. But we don't get a lot of ants anymore. And probably having the chickens helps a lot. And having most people have the exterminator come twice a year. And some places, depending on where your house is. The first house I built up in phase 6, I would have to have them come more often. We call it a little more anti-house. So they have to come a little more often. And it's because the jungle and the creek is really, really close there. So that's why that happens. But, they're not that big of a deal. Yeah, you'll see the odd really large cockroaches. There's some ones that are like this big. Those are the really good cockroaches. They eat the other bad cockroaches. So then, it seems like they're scary, but they're not. Those ones tend to live in dead and dying trees because they eat more woody stuff. And then there's the ones that do like to live in our septics and sewers and stuff like that. And do I like them? Hell no. No, I do not. I will usually squash those guys really quickly. Geckos. They were around. Our house is now 5 years old, a little over 5 years old. And we have the resident geckos. They eat a lot of bugs, and they help keep the cockroaches and things down. Do I like having cockroach or geckos in my house? If I had a preference, I would say no. But it's a symbiotic relationship because having them helps to keep the bugs down. Do I like when they pee and it runs down my walls and I have to wash it off? No, but that's part of that symbiotic relationship and part of living life in the jungle. It's just an is. So, and mosquitoes and bitey things are always worse the full moon. That's just an is. They're always worse in May when the rainy season starts. They're worse when the rain starts or when your gardener works in the yard and stirs things up. We use bug spray. We buy a product called Repel out of the States. It's a lemon eucalyptus product that works really, really well. And they've got some with no DEET and some with DEET. We have both. If we're going in the jungle or if we're going with you to explore a new lot that's just recently been chopped, I'm going to put the heavy duty stuff on. But we're just sitting around in the evening and it's the witching hour, we call it, that hour before and around sunset. We will use our Repel lemon eucalyptus. I'm just going to reach over here and grab one just so you can see what it looks like. Because we have some sitting right here. And it looks like this. And we love this stuff. DEET free. And we'll just spray our feet. In fact, I'm going to spray right now because it's going to rain and the bugs have kind of started to come out. So I'm getting bit a little bit. And usually it's just no-see-ums. We rarely have mosquitoes. I get more mosquitoes and issues with them first thing in the morning at 5:30 when the sun's just coming up. I'll see mosquitoes flying around me and I may need to spray this time of the year when they're a little more prevalent. While we're talking about mosquitoes, all those illnesses, those mosquito-borne things like dengue, malaria, Zika, and that chikungunya one that I can never pronounce properly, they're around. And those are daytime biting mosquitoes that tend to do that. Where you're more at risk for those is in the villages when you go to town. So frequently I will spray before I go to Palmar, where there's congested people, because the mosquito has to bite somebody that's sick and then bite us and infect us. Living up here where our acreages and our houses and our things are spread out more, the chances of that happening are slim to none. So you don't have to worry so much about that. The other thing is, here in Ojochal, I'm part of a Blue Flag organization, community and environment, and the Ministry of Health spears us up, looks after us, and Our Lady from the Ministerio de Salud sent us a thing about a month and a half ago that there has been nobody has gone to the doctor or to the hospital on the Costa Baena that's from Ojochal that's been infected with any of those things. We've probably had a few cases of dengue where people know what it is and they don't go to the doctor. They know to go get the papaya leaves and make their papaya tea and drink it and get rid of it. So because the locals know these things. So there's probably been a little bit of that, but there's been none of the other serious ones in this area for the entire year that they've done. They're always monitoring it, but for the year up to six weeks ago, there has been none reported in this area. So that's important to know. It's important for us all to know that it's a very safe part of Costa Rica and a safe part of the tropics to be living in. So that's the bug situation in a nutshell. And we'll probably talk more about that at another day. But anyway, in the meantime, Pura Vida. Have a good day. I'm Rita Lucas, and you can catch me on From Gringo to Tico.